everyone, welcome to Artsonia's After School Art Club. Today we have a fun art project from Sarah Farrell, an art teacher from Pennsylvania. Hope you enjoy the video and don't forget to have your artwork uploaded to your Artsonia gallery.
Hi boys and girls, my name is Sarah Farrell and I'm the art teacher at Jarretttown Elementary School, which is right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Today I'm going to share with you a project that's near and dear to my heart. It is a weaving that is made with yarn on a loom made of drinking straws, like this one I have right here that I'm working on. Now, I first learned how to make this project when I was a student teacher with Mrs. Gail Stover at Robb Elementary School back in 2004. And I have been making this project every year with my fifth graders since then, so all those years. The kids love making it, and I'm sure once you learn the steps, you're going to be weaving and making all kinds of stuff. Now, this particular piece that I'm gonna show you is a little bit smaller. This one, honestly, took me less than a half an hour to make, and you could use it as a bracelet, you could use it as a bookmark, you could tie a loop in the top and have it as a little wall hanging, just if you have cats, maybe hang it up high on the wall. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. You're just gonna be weaving like crazy. My fifth graders love this. So if you wanna create a little weaving like this, you're gonna have to gather a couple of materials. What you're gonna need first is some yarn. So what I have here is just some plain different colors of yarn. But if you go to the art store, yarn comes in all different shapes and sizes. I have this one here. This one's pretty cool because it's all these different neon colors on the same string. This is actually what I use to make this piece here, or I have another one that changes colors. But you can get chunky yarn, metallic yarn, really fuzzy yarn. So, you know, whatever catches your interest when you're looking, you can use that. The other thing that you're gonna need is some drinking straws. For this particular piece, I'm gonna be using 4, and these can be plastic or paper, which is better for the environment. Whatever you have. Then you'll also need some scissors, some tape, and then lastly, a pipe cleaner. This is gonna make it a lot easier to get the string through the straws. Now, if you don't have a pipe cleaner, it's still gonna work. This is just gonna make the process a lot quicker and a little bit more simple. So once you have all these things together, then we're ready to get started. So let me show you the first steps. So for my weaving, we are going to start with these strings here that are actually holding our weaving together. So you can see them kind of in the middle here when I spread the weaving apart. For this project, we're going to need 4 pieces because we're going to be using 4 straws, and 1 string is going to go inside each straw. So it doesn't matter what colors I pick, they can be all the same, they can be different colors. We're never actually going to be weaving with this yarn, you're just going to see them at the ends of the pieces. We want our strings to be longer than our final piece is going to be because I can always trim them when I'm done, but you're not actually going to be able to make the yarn longer once it's cut. So I'm going to be making these about 1.5 feet to maybe 2 feet, and that should give me plenty of yarn for my finished piece. So this is where the pipe cleaner comes into play. Threading the pipe cleaner through the straw with the yarn makes it super easy to get it through. And then we're going to take the end of the yarn and tape it down to the straw. If you're using a bendy straw like this one, you want to make sure you're taping it to the top of the straw, the end that you would put in your mouth when you went to drink, so that the little ridges don't get in your way when you're weaving. If you're using a paper straw, it usually doesn't have ridges, so that's fine. If you don't have a pipe cleaner, you can just like push the yarn through. Just having the pipe cleaner makes it a lot easier to get that all done. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, but basically you're just going to thread one of your pieces of yarn through each of your 4 straws and taping it down on the end. Once I have this done, all 4 of my straws have their yarn. I'm going to line them up and even them out, and then we're going to put a piece of tape down here at the bottom where the yarn is coming out, the long pieces of yarn, and secure it so that they're nice and flat. You don't want it to be super tight, but you do want them to be pretty close together like this. So now we're ready to weave. So I'm going to cut myself a new piece of yarn. It's always a new piece. I'm never going to weave with the string that's going through the straws. And we'll just tie it around one of the straws like this. So weaving is basically going in and out over and under each of the straws. So over the red, up under the green, over the red, and then back around the green, and repeat over, under, and go back to the right, over, under, over, and around. So I'm going to repeat this process, and if you look, you can see the pattern I'm creating is the same on both sides of my weaving. Push it down together and just keep going, over, under, under, under. You get the point of what I'm saying. You're basically repeating this pattern of over and under each straw until you use up this whole piece of blue string. As you're weaving, if you notice that there's a time where you might have accidentally gone over 2 of the straws instead of just 1, then you can just undo the yarn and go back and reweave to make sure that you're just doing 1 straw at a time, 1 little loop. So we're going to keep going until I have, a couple inches left here, and then I'm ready to use my next color. So I'm going to cut a new piece of this pink yarn here, and then we are going to tie the 2 pieces together. So I'm just going to tie a simple double knot, and I'll give it a little tug to make sure it's nice and tight, and then I can trim off the edges and just keep going, keep weaving the way that I was before. And eventually the pink string is going to start going on to the straws and create my next stripe of color. If you're using bendy straws like me, you never want to weave up onto these little ridges. So I'm going to make sure that I keep pushing my weaving down onto the straws to keep it kind of low. Once I have enough done, I can remove the tape at the bottom. That was really just there to hold the straws in a line, but now I have enough of the yarn on it woven onto the straws that's going to do the job for me. I'm going to slide my weaving down a little bit to give me some more space, and then I'm ready for my next color. Now, if you're using that string that I had mentioned before that changes color on its own, like this purple guy here, then I can just continue to weaving the whole time. I don't have to keep cutting new pieces and tying them together. I'm just good to go. As your weaving gets bigger and fills up more of the straws, you might notice that some of it starts to fall off onto the yarn that's going through the straws, and that's fine. Just give yourself as much space as you need and keep going. And for this piece, I've actually decided that this blue string is going to be the final stripe that I'm going to be adding to my piece. So we're going to finish this up the same way we started by taking the end of my string and tying it around one of the straws to secure the yarn in place. Then it's time to take the woven yarn and slide it off of the straws and onto the strings that are going through the straws like this. Next, I'm going to tie a knot at the end. So I'm going to take all the strings and wrap them around 2 of my fingers to make a loop, and then bring the ends through like this and pull it tight. So the last thing that we need to do is take off these straws. So I'm just going to snip the yarn up at the top, and then it's real easy to slide each straw from your weaving piece. And you can definitely reuse these straws over and over again if you want. So once we get this last one off here, then we're just going to repeat what we did on the other side and tie a second knot with these here, tie my loop, feed it through, and then we're done.
I hear from my students every year that once they get the hang of these weavings, they just can't stop. They even beg me to let them take their weavings out to recess so that they can continue to add more colors and more strings. So in this tutorial, I know we talked about making a little piece like this, but it doesn't have to be small. Here's another one that I made that's way, way bigger. In fact, this is actually my own personal woven scarf. Now for this one, I used 5 straws in the beginning for my loom instead of just 4. And when I was cutting the strings at the very beginning to thread through my straws, I made sure that I made them really long, closer to maybe 3 or 4 feet long instead of, the 2 feet that we used for our smaller piece. I've seen kids make these with up to 8 straws before. So the possibilities are really endless.
So hopefully you enjoyed learning how to make your own personal little weaving, and before you know it, you're going to be addicted to it too. So until next time, this is Sarah Farrell saying happy art making, and see you next time.